Hello and welcome to Media Mastery Show. Today I have a wonderful special guest who's actually a local from my area here. His name is Ross Keating and he is a client orchardist and business strategist and currently partnering with Redback Web Solutions. He has 20 plus years experience in customer relationship management in Australia and New Zealand. Ross has managed sales teams, the development, implementation and sales of customer relationship management software internationally, and he has been responsible for 40,000 plus customers and $36 million in sales. Hello and welcome, Ross.
Hello, Aldwyn. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a fantastic to be on the show.
Thank you so much for coming along. Now, just to set the scene, we are going to be talking about how to show customers the love and release hidden profits in your business today. But let's just start right at the top. Let's talk about CRM. What exactly does CRM stand for?
Customer Relationship Management. And it gets different terms because it's evolving over time. But CRM and CRM system stands for management. Experience management, really. But okay. CRM, that's the terminology people talk about.
Okay, and does this actually fit into marketing or advertising, or is it a standalone activity?
Well, I'm biased. I say that marketing and advertising and customer service are all part of customer relationship management, just as the people in the warehouse, the people on the call center, the phones, part of the core of customer relations standalone. They all help build the relationship with the customer, and the idea behind that is to create a repeat profitable customer to come back. So I say they are part of customer relationship management, but most people use it within connection of the sales and customer experience or customer service aspects.
Okay, and why is it so important to retain your customers and to look after your customers?
Well, my favorite questions. I just use an example, a made-up example, obviously. But if a business had 1,000 customers this year on the 1st of January, that on average 20% of a database or your clients will leave you over the year for whatever reason. They don't like you, they move the area, they no longer use the product or service, or they've found something else that so over a 5-year period, on the 31st of December 2021, and you don't replace any of those customers. Just, I know that's not logical, but we just want to get the idea of what happens with attrition at 20%. You'll only have 328 customers left December 2021. You have to replace those customers. And Don Peppers says one-to-one. You remember Don Peppers and Dr. Martha Rogers at all? One-to-one manager, those people?
No, I don't actually, but that's okay. I'll look them up.
You need to look them up. They are gurus within the customer relationship management, the godfather of one-to-one customer relationship. And what they, from that perspective, is that the best customer, the easiest customer to get hold of, is the least loyal customer of another company. And from the example I gave there is that the easiest customers are for you to sell to are those that you bought. I saw some research in certain industries, you can't apply everybody through all that business. But if a customer buys from you once, they're 27% more likely to buy your product again or service again. If they buy from you twice, they're 45% more likely to buy your product or service again. And the other part of that is they said 3 or more times, they're 54% more likely to buy from you again. So that's a really good statistic. I mean, I don't know how you do your sales and track your sales, but if a business tracks their sales and they say, to sell a customer that is bought from us again, I'm going to show them the service. Like that salesperson should have a full chance of closing the sale, a close rate, than somebody who's a new customer and hasn't heard of your product or service before. That's why I feel it's important. So if you can keep as many customers buying from you again, you only have to replace that 20%. And in some businesses it's high, and some it's a lot less, particularly and smaller businesses know the customers really well.
Very good. So it really saves a lot of time and effort afterwards trying to find new customers by looking after your existing customers. So what are some ways that people can do that? What are some great things once someone buys from you? What are some things you can do to retain your customers and keep them happy?
One of them, say that you've got a bricks and mortar type place, and they come into your store. A customer comes into your store, and you thank them for coming in. Can I help you? Say, hey, it's great to see you again. You might not for coming in. It's really great to see you again. And just that little bit of recognition will give them it might be just a touch. You might be following them online, Facebook and things like that. Just by posting something, it shows you're keeping in touch. People talk about touches and contact with a customer. People perceive that to be, well, I've got to give them a brochure or invite them to or I have to send them maybe a birthday card, or I have to make them an offer because it's Mother's Day coming up, or it's Father's Day coming up soon. And so they think that is the way to keep in contact. But it's some of those things there are just, if I know it's your birthday and I've known you now for a couple of years, I feel comfortable saying happy birthday on Facebook to you. But if I'd only met you yesterday or wasn't there, I was in contact with the business and they said no, they didn't want to do business with me right now, and that was fine. But 2 days later, I happened to come across what was really useful to, or would be useful to, the person I was talking to. So I said no intention of other than this is a useful bit of information, as I found out by having the discussion. So it's making contact and showing that you're interested, not making sure that you've got a sale right now. That's some of the things you can, just little touches make a real difference.
So the customer just knows that they're valued, and you have that touch point. I guess particularly with today's day and age, where we're on the internet so much and at our computers, where you don't have those touch points. So I guess that would be really important, as well as actually having the physical touch points with your customer and making them feel welcome when they come to see you. Maybe something simple like actually having decent coffee for them rather than instant coffee, when they come to visit your office, could make them feel valued, or give them some chocolates or something simple like that. What are some other ideas, Ross, on ways you can keep your clients happy?
You can keep them happy by making sure, well, one of the things I do is a good way to do it is to map out where you touch your customers and think about it. This is not an average. There's around about potentially 32 touch points that you can touch them. You might have LinkedIn, you've got Twitter, if you're on Twitter, and a lot of people aren't here in a business situation. You've got your brochures, you've got your proposals, you've got your invoices, you've got when people phone up, they might be phoning the warehouse as opposed to somebody at the shop front. So you count that all of these people a message, or somebody who's a bill out to a customer, for example, and said, oh, you're overdue, and then somebody is responsible for doing sales and hasn't told them that we've been chasing up the person for the bill, and they said they've gone in to try and make a sale, or hey, how's it going? and they say, oh, John and Mary from the accounts pay the bill, don't they? Get paid until the end of the month. And it's making sure there's a consistency in the approach and everything that you do. And like you've said with Michael Rollins, the other, was it May you had him on the show?
Yes. It was in the last month or so.
Yeah.
Michael Rollins.
You talked about liking him, to like them, to know them and trust them. You know, Lauren Clement, and the personal branding, they don't buy from you till they know you, and they like you, and they trust you. And it takes time. But if you've got that, you're not consistent in your approach and what you say, then it's really, really hard for them to.
Yeah, it's a good point. And you talk about also the biggest expense business executives and owners often don't know about. What is this mysterious expense?
Well, a lot of people don't realise that 9 out of 10 customers, and this is nothing new, I'm sure that most of the people here watching us today know that 9 out of 10 customers don't tell them they're not going to come back, and tell at least that they're unhappy. There's one person that'll come, it's 9 out of 10, and very few people will know. If I go and ask a business, often I'll ask a business, how many customers you got? They say, oh, I don't know, I need to look it up. I say, well, give me a ballpark. I don't know. And there's a difference too. Customers and a part, and then you've got those who you've never been in contact with a bunch of Sundays. And that's where I was like with the insurance company. People had an insurance policy, but I hadn't seen anybody from the company for 5 years or more. Can you imagine what they are? They're still paying, but they were falling off the books by that stage at a pretty steady rate. And that's what happens with a lot of people. So that believe that mysterious huge expense, because it's revenue you get from those customers really, really hard to get somebody who's walk away from you and experience service. It's really, really a tough scenario to get somebody to come back. I mean, have you ever left a business and they've tried to get you to come back, Aldwyn?
Well, they've tried to get me to come back at all, or
have they tried? Have you?
Yeah, I guess there's different things I've seen. Like, for example, where we have our Marketing for Business Owners meetup group, where we're both members there. You know, the coffee school that we have our meeting at, you know, they have their little VIP card. So if you get 5 coffees, you get 1 free or something. So those little VIP cards, I think that's a good way to entice people to come back. However, it never ceases to amaze me how many shops I go to where they don't actually collect people's details. They don't, you know, have a lucky draw for, you know, put your business card here for a, you know, chance to win a lunch or something. So I think, you know, building the database for businesses is a great idea too, to I guess not just rely on your existing customers, but to bring in new customers. And a lot of people don't do that. Although, you know, I have had quite a few different shopping experiences where they've given out VIP cards and said, would you like to join our VIP mailing list? It's free and you get 10% off your purchases, etc. So I was quite impressed with that actually at Harbour Town. I went to Harbour Town last week and there was quite a few shops, clothing shops, etc., where they had the VIP cards. Or they said, are you a member of the Harbour Town club? You know, you get, if you join the club, you get discounts across a range of shops. So that's a good idea. So yeah, I have had a few. Yeah, it's probably only 20% or so of the shops I go to, though, or places where I do business, where they will ask me or entice me to come back again. It's probably 80-20 rule, I guess.
And 20%. The interesting part is that of those that do leave a business, 67% of them leave people perceived indifference. They don't know whether you love them or not, i.e., do you care about those people? And they leave. That is research done back in about 2004 by the American Quality. Huge number. That's just by showing some love. I call it show customers the love. You can keep some of those. You might not keep all of that 67%, but imagine if you were able to keep 80% of those people. If I go back to my little example of 20% of people leaving every year, that's 20 people that are left. And if you could keep, you do the maths, what is it worth? What's a customer worth to you? A lot of people think, well, only worth $100, $500 this year, or maybe $2,000 this year. One of the examples that show this well on a very long sales cycle is real estate agents. When my wife and I bought our house, we went to a real estate agent and to the suburbs that I didn't want neither of us, and would take us over this bridge which defined the break between the suburbs, and I would go like this in the car, and I knew I wasn't going to go and see that house with any intention of buying. They were taking that estate agent didn't listen to us. Both my wife and I, so why would they take us to a house there? This particular real estate agent, only in the areas that we had agreed with, that we should show. And that was one house, not bad. But over a 5 or 7 year period, we bought and sold through her. A lot of commission she earned 7 year period. Now we bought investment properties, and that's a real estate agent. Customers will probably buy an investment property or two, and that's what you're looking for. So if you're in business for 30 years, or you say you want to be in business for at least another 10 years, and somebody buys from you 2 years, times that person is not going to, because they're going to come in and buy from you if you keep them. So if you're customers and 670 of those people, we're going to come back every year, because we say 2/3 of the customers might come back and buy from you every year in that particular year, because it's a low value sale. It's not a $10,000 or $20,000 purchase. So say they're spending $100 a time with you, and they come back every year. Imagine if you could keep those people. That's a lot of revenue not having to find, and a lot of money about getting new customers. It's maybe 5 or 6 times more costly to buy a new customer than it is to sell to an existing one, because I just before mentioned that statistic. They're 54% more likely to buy your products and services again than go and buy from somebody new. So really, that's where that expense is there. That hidden expense, because it doesn't show up in the balance sheet. Nobody sees dropping sales.
Yes, good point. It really is about building relationships, isn't it, with your customers, so that you can go back, or they can come back to you with ease and feel very comfortable to work with you and know that they're going to be looked after. I think it's, really everything is relationship based here, and building that trust over time, as you say. Very interesting, those statistics of the number of people that will buy from you the first time or buy from you the second time, how likely they are to buy again once they buy from you once or twice. So you become the first logical choice, I guess, once people start buying from you again and again. So let's look now let's look at avatars and buyer personas. So what are they and why are they important, Ross?
One is customer profiles. and you've had a couple of people on your show this last year, even Brent Thompson, the copywriter. He says, if you can tell me your avatar, the ideal, what your ideal customer looks like, I can write the words that will better get that person across the line, get her across the line, make it more in tune with them. So buyer personas and avatars are and it's really important to do that. Now, most businesses will 2 or 3 key ones, and what you really look at is how do you identify them. It does take a bit of time, and it does cause a bit of pain. You think, oh, this is a waste of time, but it has a double-edged sword. If you identify your best customers, in that, I don't know, some people class silver and bronze, or A being the best one and C being occasion B is somebody who comes in reasonably regularly, or buys from you, and they're quite loyal, but they might go away and they might grow into being a customer. Not all B clients will become an A client from that point of view. So if you know what client is and go into detail on, this is owned by a couple, are they because of it, or does somebody else make the decision? You know, they have the final say, but you have to talk to a decision maker. So what do they look like? How old are they? What profession? Which is the best industry for your particular market, or your product or service? Where are they based? If you have to ship stuff, are you going to be wanting customers in Perth? Or because is it cost effective to get your product or service to them? Or if you do want those customers, age and their gender matters from the point of view you want to write communications to them, your website, your posts. Those things are all really, really important. And if I write things about cars and petrol heads and things like that, and you're not interested in petrol and cars and sports cars and fishing, stories I might use and the analogies I might use. Interested in travel features, and you've got behind you, for example, I can think more seascape behind you there today, and that is you're interested in travel and beach and all things to do with sea life, and you're interested in animals. You might take that. So I need to write for that. So understanding those, by building that up, what income are they? Sell a $5,000 product to somebody. Is it within their budget? How are they paid? So you try and build it up, and it's your listeners have been in business for quite a while, and they actually know them, but it's writing it down. And you do this because if you're going to get people like yourself to help you, and myself, and people like Brett and Michael Rowlands, if they're going to help ask you these questions, a few just to learn and keep my knowledge up. Just about every show, I'd say 98% of shows talk about avatars and profiles, but it's so important to do that because they hang out online. What do they read? What if they're in their 50s? Do they use Snapchat? But if they're in their 20s, they might use Snapchat. Who's using Instagram? Who's using Facebook? Those type of things are all come out. Who does this appeal to? So those avatars can be built up, and that's what we did, for example, with that 40,000 customers. We divided them initially into product groupings, and then we got to know what their ages were and who did they have it. And then we developed a profile. In insurance, there's the life insured, benefit of that person, if it's a life insurance policy. Then there's the people who are who pay For may not be like my parents took out a life insurance policy for me when I was a young kid. And so I happen to be the beneficiary, but I've got life insurance. My wife is the beneficiary of mine. But they might have been paying for the premium for that. So who is the customer? And who the customer? And if they're paying the bill, have they got their insurance policy with you? On your service, if they're paying your media for your media PR skills, are they getting theirs done, or are they paying it for another company? Or those are the type of things you might think, well, it's just logical that they'll be using me. Most people don't realize that you have a whole range of other products and services that you offer with them. And that's what we did with that insurance company. We sent them out a form and said, would you like to know about this product or service? And for the cost of $800, we got 4,000 leads came back, and that turned into, we estimate, about $1 million in premium income. And that meant for the insurance company that there's about $1 million additional coming into the company while those policies were enforced. So it's quite, for $800, it wasn't a bad return on investment.
Very good return on investment. Now, what you're talking about here, it makes me think of the marketing triangle that Street Smart Marketing talk about, and they talk about the message, they talk about the market, and they talk about the media. So the three things in the triangle. So once you're really clear on your market, then you can craft the message for that market, and you also know which media to go out to, as you were talking about. You know, are they on Facebook, Twitter? You know, what magazines do they read? If you're going out to traditional media with your marketing, getting really clear on your avatar, on your ideal customer who you want to attract, and what they do, their habits around absorbing media and watching media, you know, being able to target those areas to get in front of those customers, to bring in your ideal customer, so that you're working smarter, not harder, right, Ross?
That's right. That's dead right, Aldwyn. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So let's look at the difference between sales, CRM, and social selling now. Can you explain a bit about the differences there with sales, CRM, and social selling?
Sales is we find a prospect and we go out and we try to convert them through touch proposals to them and convert it. I think we all understand the pipeline methodology. Customer relationship management, and the whole idea is to keep in touch. Whether they're a customer, existing customer, or prospective customer, you would use, to me, you use customer relationship management. The word customer is misnomer with the supplier, because you're trying to keep in the good books with your supplier. Customer relationship management or supplier relationship management, but it's not sure. Social selling is relatively new, and it's come about because of the internet and all the apps like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat. All those things are ways enables you to contact the customer now. I say to people or business and try to get people to think about that a prospect customer is always a prospect. Your statistics before are your best prospects. So social selling gives you the ability to use social media to keep in contact with them. Now, doesn't have to be obvious. We keep on thinking about posts, putting something up, or holding a webinar, and these are all with your but so enables you to do is follow them and you get to know them, to develop an authentic relationship with them. If you want to know me in business, and you know, and understand and get to know me in my business point of view, if you're trying to sell to me to a degree. But eventually, over time, you will get to know me as a person, and I might let you see my Facebook page, and that I've got, you know, family and what my interests are, and that's the authentic me, you know, that I like. And I have t-shirt for the Origin that's got number 93, and Mel Meninga said he will call me up when he needs number 93 on the field. So you get to know my passions about rugby league and football. And that's where social selling comes in. When you the social media, you can see that you made a post or you've had a show previously. You can be prepared by saying video about Michael Rowlands, and that you know that I've been to your channel, your YouTube channel, where you've got all your videos from Xpose Media Mastery and the other ones as well. And from that point of view, that's an important getting to know them. So 60 winner process research, again, recent research about 2012, has shown that the salesperson about their business, about buying the product or service, that about 57 to 60% of the way through their decision-making process, because they've been able to research about the product, the service, the company, and maybe even the salespeople online. Because if they are given a name to contact, they often go to LinkedIn before they even contact you. What have you done? And this is all what social selling is. And the reverse side of it is, if you're calling up and making contact with your customers, you know that you're going to see them somewhere, and you have got access to their web page or their Facebook page or their Instagram, you might see that they've taken some photographs on the weekend down at Byron Bay or up in Brisbane or over in Los Angeles, or they went on a cruise somewhere. The conversation with them, and you initiate doing the small talk, you might say, "Oh, did you do anything interesting on the weekend?" You don't have to say, "I see you went to Byron Bay." But if you ask that, you've got an opening question that will help them talk about themselves. And that opens them up, because you want them to talk about themselves.
Yes. Yes, so show interest in their interest. And of course, the beauty of Google now, we can all stalk each other on Google and see what each other are up to, and find some common points, I guess, with your customers and with your prospects that you can talk about. So that, again, is showing that you care, showing that you're interested. They say also, like, the few things you could talk about that's pretty generic. I talk about people's health, about their family, about their, what do they do in their spare time when they're not in business. So really get interested in what their life is like outside of the business, is what you're saying there, really, is to go beyond just the superficial. This is another business person I'm selling to from business to business, but actually, and as Leo Petrick said actually in another show, he was talking about it's actually person to person. You're connecting with that person because they are the face of the business, or they're the people you're dealing with. So it's really building that relationship on a person to person basis, not just business to business.
That's right.
Yeah. So now CRM, would you say it's another name for a customer loyalty program?
No, I don't. It's part customer relationship management and customer loyalty and customer reward programs are interlinked, very strongly interlinked. The loyalty program is part of the customer relationship strategy. So, well, I'm going to develop a relationship with people and get to know them and reward them and encourage them to do certain things through a customer loyalty program, like the frequent flyers with the airlines, or even the cup of coffees. That's the coffee cards, I would say, are more based around a reward as opposed to a loyalty. People are looking for a kind of a discount, and that you forget every 6 1 free or 1 in 10 free. You're sort of saying, well, that's a 10% discount I'm getting on that cup of coffee. On those coffees, you might say. So programs are very strongly with customer relationship strategy. How am I going to do it? I'm going to have that loyalty program to put it in place, and it's going to be a key portion of it, because we're going to ask you about your interests. Do you like boating, skiing, fishing, travel? Do you like finding out about new people. Do you like celebrities? What TV shows? They all ask you that type of question. So looking at that, it becomes really, really interesting about what they can find out about you just by giving you information. And Facebook is of implied profiling.
So what about if there's business people out there that have never been in touch with their customers after they've bought? Okay, they've got their contact details, they might have their email and their phone number. You know, what can these business people do to now come back and to engage their customers that they've had no contact with whatsoever after the purchase, and they want to let them know that they're around and what they're up to? What's some ways that they can now build that trust and build that relationship with those previous clients?
One of the really good ways to do it is send them a thank you note. You can to say, thank you for buying from us this last week, because you can do it out in mass, and today you've got the ability to deliver personal communications. Now, some people might say, well, that's too hard. Providing you are collecting their names and addresses, it might be just through by email, but you can make a nice looking email. People really do appreciate snail mail, even though we don't do it. But you've got to have the value to do that, you know, for those type of things. For bricks and mortar stores that are in the retail environment. But if you say thank you, you will stand out from the crowd. That is noticeable. If you're standing above the crowd by half an inch, you're noticeable. And that's saying thank you, but don't put another offer in there. My suggestions don't. Some people say, well, say when you come back, here's a 10% sale. All of a sudden you're trying to sell them and get them to come back. You're not saying thank you, you're trying to find another sales pitch. You just say thank you for coming in and buying the products and services. If I can help you at any stage, give us a call. That's it. Send that out. 30 days. Because research shows that a person could potentially buy from you another product or service if you've got a related service. Yes. You can send out a one. So how's it going? And then you can make a cross pitch. So say, well, look, we've found that people have bought this. And Amazon's a great example of this. These people, you've bought this book, and others. Can you excuse me, Spo? I'm going to cough.
You're right. Yes, so Amazon are great at that, and also Vistaprint is another one that's fantastic at upselling and cross-selling, and yeah, if you've bought something, you may also like this because there's other people who have bought this, and I guess having that's kind of like social proof too. It's saying, you know, people who, like yourself, who've been interested in this product are also interested in this product. So that's a great way to cross-promote. So, I mean, I like, for example, in my business, I have a public relations arm, and within that I have photography services, video services, and copywriting services, which a lot of people are not aware of. So, for example, if someone has booked a photography job with me, they may like a video job done within a month. They may even want those photos turned into a video. So there's those sorts of things to think about in cross-selling. So, yes, what are some other pointers on that, please, Ross?
The other point is on that, if we could use yours as an example there, Aldwyn, is that people don't know that they're going to be services. So when they buy from you your PR services, for example. You might have offered them during the proposal stage, say we do photography and video as well, and we do see these other services, but they don't take it in. They're looking at it. I mean, I relate it to when my wife and I were first, when we were having our first child. All of a sudden, I started seeing prams everywhere. And now I wasn't a pram type of guy, right? I wasn't into prams. But when my wife was pregnant, we're getting close, I was looking at the different types of prams. And then we weren't looking and the older, I mean, toy shops, for example, we were looking at toys for a 0 to 6 month old, but I wasn't looking at the toys for a 5 or 6 year old. But my daughter was going to become 5 or 6 in 5 or 6 years. So that toy shop couldn't, if they'd taken the time somehow to get me into competition or even ask me for name and address, would they like me to keep in contact so they can provide us with information because whatever, then they could have kept me in contact, and I might have bought more of my toys from that toy shop over my daughter's. So with your example, that people know about your photography, but they haven't taken it in. They don't need it right now. They don't see it. And they're saying, so if you went back to them in 30 days or even 6 months down the line saying, you used our services, how's it all going? I hope it's going well, and you'll do better scripting than that. But also, don't know whether you recall, but we offer these type of things. If you would like to discuss it, you might have a special offer. We've got a special offer for existing customers, or this is a website. And if you're leading into it, you may have like a drip feed to take up the photography business. So get out and sort of say, here's doing who have, and you won't say bought the service, but you sort of say, our customers have been buying this, and here's a news article of somebody who's got the photography, the benefits of the photography. So you're highlighting the success and you're talking that, but you're not making an offer, but you're just putting information out how photography in a certain way benefits customers. Application might be at a given point in time, it might be 3 weeks, it might be 7 days, it might be the next day, but if you then you could actually send out another one that gives them an introductory offer. Another article. Depends on what the sales cycle is for your product and how you see the people using it. Insurances if you use financial brokers, for example, when they're doing home loan mortgage lending, what happens there, that people take out a mortgage maybe for years. They've got a 30-year mortgage, but after about 2 years, genuinely are going to change, look at the interest rates, see if they can get a better deal somewhere else, and they will go and try and refinance the existing mortgage they got, say from me if I was the mortgage broker. So there's that a lot of mortgage brokers don't keep in touch with their customers on a regular basis just by doing things. By saying, hi, here's this, or how you going, just keeping in contact. And then at the end of that process, they get there 2 years on, most people change, so they ring up 2 years. But they're picking and making contact with other people about 18 months. So 6 months before, they've been listening to what's happening in the market, what the Reserve Bank is thinking or doing, and what other brokers, and they go to networking meetings, and there's other brokers. You've always got competition out there. They feel that they've got a better connection with that other broker that's there because she's been sending information. She's in touch with them. She has identified their commonalities and some of their interests and related it to that. And all of a sudden, the person's got their 2 years. Oh no, I just refinanced with Mary down the road from XYZ brokers. Or they go to the bank. The bank is really good at keeping in touch with you. This is set, but they're in touch, setting information, making it available, and they've got the other power of advertisements as well on TV, which can, or even online. You can watch a YouTube video, and there's CanBank right in front of your face. So where it comes in, you don't know, so you have to be part in front of them. That's what social selling. That's where that. As I said, they're 50 to 60% of their way down the decision-making process when they get in contact. So you use social selling techniques as part of your customer relationship strategy to be in contact with them and out there, so they're thinking of you, they see you, and you're not necessarily communicating with them directly, but they're seeing your posts. They're seeing that you are making comments about the rates going down, or what's happening in the media, and you ways to get out there. So that's to keep in contact and use social selling as part of that.
And it could be, I was just thinking then too, with my photography business, for example, there's so many different types of photography I do, like event photography, birthdays, anniversaries, portrait shots. So I guess a simple question to ask at the end of a shoot is, do you have a special event coming up that you would like photographed as well? So it could be the same type of industry, but a different event or a different scenario using the same technology, using the photography or the video. So just asking a simple question at the end, or do you know anyone who is looking for a photographer for anything coming up, or something like that, and maybe offering something in exchange for that referral. What do you think are some good things that you could possibly offer for referrals, Ross?
It's a double-edged sword. It depends on your comfort zone with referral programs. There's ways, like you just said, you could give them, a lot of people have a finder for a referral. A lot of it, sometimes it's based on the fact, providing the person buys from you has its good side and bad side, because then the person you go to, special introductory offer because they referred to you by somebody, then what happens is that they feel cheated. They know that you referred me, I referred you to one of my friends. Then my friend says, well, Ross is getting a movie tickets, for example, but I get nothing. So you have to have an introductory offer. So as part of your pricing, and this is where profitability comes into it, you have to cost those into the product or service. How are you going to do that? You can provide monetary rewards. I'll give you 10%. If they take it up, I'll give you X percentage of the sale. Feel good about that because they feel they're getting it from their friends. They're cheating. It's something dirty about being rewarded for referring your friends to somebody, and depending on the industry, how they feel about that. And one way that I got around that sometimes was that I'd often put the equivalent in a charity into a charity. And this is my preferred charity, or charities, because you might want to give people a choice of charity. So there is a reward. They're helping the people for the good, and you're doing something good by donating it to them. And the person, and they're giving a referral, and they can do that. So that's the referral programs are very much consistent. You need to be confident about asking referral. Know anybody else who might be interested in having a chat about customer relationship management? And you leave that as a blank. And that's a fairly bland, standard stock phrase. I'm fairly comfortable asking that question. Asking it and sort of saying, and if you refer me and get 10%, you have to know me pretty well before I start to add that at the back end. You might have that program somehow, but you've got to work it out. And it's a strategy. You have to think these things through very clearly and understand how they will impact the person referring you and the other. But often it's just a simple thing. Could you know anybody? Sure. Oh, do you mind if I use your name? No, not at all. And sometimes it's really good. Or can we call them while I'm with you? Again, depending on the product or the service and how urgent that is, and what the sales trainer is telling you. I'm not a sales trainer, by the way.
Yeah, some good tips there, Ross. What about customer complaints? How do they fit into a CRM strategy and tactics?
Okay. Customer complaints is one of my favorites. Remember we talked about 9 out of 10 people who leave a business do so, they don't even tell you. And that's when it's your big expense. They're walking out the door, opportunity cost. The 10th person who does tell you a complaint is your most loyal customer. You should reward them the biggest reward that you can, because they've taken the time, they've disliked what you've done for them, and yet they'll still come and talk to you. You've got an opportunity, not only to put it right for them, but to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else. Now, it's not guaranteed. You can never guarantee it will never ever happen again. I don't believe in 100% fixes. I really, really don't. There's always Murphy's Law is going to come along and bite you. But this person has taken the time and said, I like your service so much that I'm going to complain and let you try and fix it for me. And sometimes they just want to get off their chest. And there was a really good article, and I can't think of it last night, and I'll find it again. It was about handling customer complaints. It was really just a really, really good reminder. Have a look. I'm putting, I know it's coming out of my social media soon because I've reposted it. But that customer is having a strategy and be, what is a complaint? Oh, you guys were slow answering the phone. Anything that is a negative, how can I improve it? Because it's the little things that count, that make it. I don't know about you, but it's, if somebody is rude and obnoxious, you're going to get a complaint, and that's standard. But sometimes it's the little things that didn't do it right. And I prefer to perhaps give an example of, there's a Bras and Things down in Helensvale Mall, down there. And they did a fantastic job. My wife and I went in there, and we were standing there, and both of the girls were busy. And then one of them broke away because she was doing folding for the other one, but she broke away and she said, look, will Jimmy just with you in just a moment, is that okay? And we said, yeah, sure, fine. And then those two girls were most helpful. Now I've got a LinkedIn on that, I've tweeted about it. It's a really good story. One little thing, I'm talking about that. And I prefer to talk about the positive sides, but it's the little thing that counts. She took time to acknowledge me. Help do that. Just saying thank you for coming to my, hi, how's this coffee shop? There's a coffee club up in Goodna outside Ipswich, which is about 100 kilometres from where we are. I'd walk to the door. When you got to the door, didn't matter who it was, one of the staff members would wait, even if they were serving somebody. Hi, how are you? And it was wonderful. I love going, that's just a little thing. But if you imagine, you could see the reverse if they were grumpy and they looked down. It's the little things. Don't get an invoice wrong. If you put the wrong price in, you're going to have to, that's a really upset, that's a big one. But it's, how do your people react when they get a question about it? You know, what is a complaint? Anytime there's in the room for an area of improvement, is a customer complaint. Track it, because these people are trying to help you improve your business, and I would suggest have a little bit of a fun to be able to do them. Send them a cake. Send them, whether you send out cards, yeah?
Yes.
Send out cards. Send people a card. Thank you. And it comes in snail mail. They get a card that can come in your handwriting, and it's a real snail mail card. And I've, on my desk, I think I've still got a couple that come through from people. I keep those. And imagine that. And if they've really done something really good for you, you can give people a gift. I give people sometimes some brownies. The send out card brownies are to die for.
Yes, they are.
If you reward, my suggestion is reward customers, because that's one customer that will stay with you. An example, I was with people in a ship for 3 hours, and we got a complaint about the service. I actually took the time, the only time I could meet these people when they were actually, because they were regular travellers, was to actually meet them. Upgraded them to what we called club class at the time, and I had a meeting with them. So it was a 3-hour sailing each way. I met with them and so on. That meeting, they maintained their business with us. They had other choices. There was a competitor, and they could fly. They preferred this way for various reasons. We got 800 people. I'm booking for 800 people. It's coming up in 6 months' time because of the way that we handled that complaint. It was a whole team effort. But they were just complaining about a small thing. And we went and did that. And it made, that was worth a lot of money. So complaints, treat them really well, love them, hug them, really give them the love.
That's great. I love the way you look at that. Welcome complaints as feedback. I guess if somebody's got a complaint, maybe there's been a misunderstanding around something, or they just want to be acknowledged for what they're disappointed about. And I have heard many cases where complaints have turned into, those people have turned into raving fans because of the way that complaint's been dealt. So really acknowledging that. And most people just really want acknowledgement, I think, and they want to be heard, they want to be listened to. And I think, with communication, all things can be resolved. So I think that's a great way to look at it. And then there's some people that will just whinge no matter what, and they will just keep on whinging. And there's some clients you just have to sack, I would say, and they're the people you probably don't want in your business. However, give people a chance, I guess, initially, and see if you can resolve whatever issue it is, and use that feedback to then improve your services in future, or improve your communication so that there's no misunderstandings in future around whatever that issue was. So that's really good tips there. Now, what does a business need before starting CRM or social selling?
That my suggestion is that you need your business plan. And people hate the words business plan or a strategy and that. But if you want to invest in marketing and sales and social media and all those things, how much are you going to invest? How much have you got to invest? That's not uncommon for businesses not to have a budget. They don't have a budget. They don't know how. They know that intuitively they know how much money is going to come in to a business up to about $3 million, and they have not listed and look at the expenses on a weekly basis or a monthly basis minimum. You've got to have that. So my suggestion is marketing, and you're going to try and do customer relationship management. Why are you doing? What's your goal? What's your vision for your business? And how are you going to get what is important, and what tools, resources do you need? And in doing that, if you say, well, I actually want to be in business for the next 10 years and I want to come out of it in my retirement fund, how much you want in the retirement fund? Oh, I want $1 million. So you want to be able to sell the business, and when it's sold, you come out with $1 million after tax. Yeah, great. Okay. What does it need to do? What does it need to achieve? Is it $2 million or $3 million? Is it only, doesn't matter how big it is. What's your plan? And if you know the numbers, because if you know you've got 1,000 customers and 20% of them are going to leave you this year, you have to at least spend enough money to get that 20% back. That 200 out of 1,000 customers, you've got to get 200 people back into your doors. And you're making the assumption then that the others, real estate agent, a person doesn't necessarily buy from you every year. Might buy from you an investment property every year because they've got the resources to do so. So you have a business plan, get it out. It's not hard. Just write down what are you, like how is your, and which is the most effective way. And if you know who your customers are, you then know who your best customers are. And then you can then have everything out. What administration staff, product, software have to do it. We're going to ship it. If you know where your customers are, you know who's going to estimate. So knowing your numbers is so important. What the other day I only want to do about sales. I said, great, you want sales, but how many do you need? What does your business need to do that? This investment in capital to buy 20 or 30 of these machines, which were significant chunks of money. I hadn't thought of it like that. So a lot of people get some new customers and existing customers, but they don't think why and what the return is going to be. Any more money. Effectively, by doing some PR, you've got some great stuff that you do with public relations and getting people in front of the media to generate those stories. I mean, I'm here on the Gold Coast today is Jared Haynes, who turned to the National Rugby League and playing for the Titans. They're paying him $2.3 million. Is he worth that as a player? But they've also said he's worth that because of the publicity that he will generate, ticket sales, getting media stories. They've got the front and back page of the Courier Mail. Aldwyn?
Hundreds of thousands. Yes,
Right.
hundreds of thousands.
And so that's what your business plan is, and everything flies. You can reverse it back. That takes the stress out of it. You might actually not have to work 14 hours a day as a business owner or the marketing manager of a company.
Very good. Some great questions to ask and things to consider, definitely, before starting a CRM or social selling. We do need to wrap up shortly, but just a few more questions. Which CRM app is best for business, Ross?
That's whichever's best. And there's over 300 CRM applications on the market today, and that is just a phenomenal. I don't list and knowing the applications. I've sold things Salesforce and Salesforce, and I call that an industrial strength. But they have modules that take it down so small businesses can use it, and people sort of say, "Well, only use what I've got for the growth." You've got Insightly, you've got Zoho CRM, Nimble CRM. I'm just in the process of becoming a Nimble solution partner. But when I'm working with clients, I'm not going to necessarily recommend Nimble when Salesforce is the most effective tool, or Insightly. But it's important to understand what it is. Identify what you want the tool to do. Relationship management, as we've discussed, or through this time, is about across the organisation. It's the people when they make contact with you, the warehouse, the stock and equipment and products and services, to the invoicing. All those can be part of this user customer relationship management. How does it tie into your accounting system? What do you want it to do? Marketing strategy, and your sales strategy, and your PR strategy. Does it link in social media? How does it link in? How are you going to do that? Because you don't want to you have to think about these things. That's why, with 300 systems over time out there in the marketplace, there should be something that can meet your needs. Building one from customization is a very, very expensive. And we talk about best practice in any industry, in any type of thing. What's the best practice? Of most businesses will do, and applications will do 80% of what you do with a few tweaks and a few little customizations. And there's that 80% is what you need to do when you implement the system on day one. 70 to 80% should be available. There's 10% of things that you and your team would like to occur or for it to do for you that don't have to be there right there on day one. In the next year or so, that people with customization stuff, that is the stuff that blows budgets, effectiveness of the system, because you're trying to turn it back into what all the systems that you did, and really you don't need it. And I say you don't have that last 10%. They're the really customization things, and most people don't want to pay the money for a big customization exercise. And otherwise you would have got a customized system right from the square one. And you've got a variety of prices of what you're doing. So one of the key things you want to do, so you've got to map your processes in the business because you're trying to make it more efficient. And when you've got that, then you can select it. And you can talk to people like me, who might point you in the direction. I use a site, G2 Crowd, and they all sorts of software, CRM section. Users think of about 150 different CRM applications. It's a really good run. And there's another one, Software Advice. Again, they have. So that's where it is. Which is the best application? It is very dependent on each individual business and what they want out of it.
And no doubt you can help people with that, Ross. So if people want to come and work with you, I presume you work one-on-one with businesses to find out exactly what they need and how they can retain their customers and share the love. So how can people find you, Ross, and how will you work with them? What's your process?
Let's have a conversation in the first place. Find me on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, Ross Keating Queensland, and you'll find me pretty well. You can probably Ross Keating, and I should pop up somewhere through my LinkedIn profile. My contact details are there quite visibly. Give me there, and I will set up a call. Initially, I offer a 15-minute call, between 15 to 30 minutes, to see what it is, and then we have a discussion, and normally then I'll meet and we'll figure out what the process is from that point of view. Again, I can't customize it, and I work in groups as well. I'm doing webinars and workshops and things like that, so we can tailor it to what they want.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you so much, Ross. So anyone watching this, if you want a 15 to 30-minute consultation with Ross, just Google Ross Keating and you'll find him on Facebook and LinkedIn. Did you mention Twitter as well there, Ross?
I'm on Twitter as well.
And on Twitter. Okay, fantastic. So on the social media, Google+, etc., you will find Ross there. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ross, and for sharing your wisdom. You're certainly a man who knows how all of this works, and you've been around the traps for 20+ years doing this, so you're definitely an expert and someone people should call on if they want to really show customers the love and release hidden profits in your business. If you want to do that, definitely get in touch with Ross. Any final words, Ross, before you wrap up?
No. Well, my final word is show customers the love and they'll come back, and you'll release profits and you'll find revenue in the business. So, and I'd also like to thank you, Aldwyn, for having me on the show. It's been fantastic, a great opportunity, and you do it really, really well. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ross. It's a real honour to have you on the show and a privilege. And of course, we are both at most of the Marketing for Business Owners Meetup group meetings on a Thursday morning as well in Southport. So if you go to Meetup and look up Marketing for Business Owners, you will see Ross and I there. You can come and meet us personally on most Thursdays. It's on 7:30 a.m. till 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning, and connect with us there. You can also connect with me personally on, just Google my name, Aldwyn Altuney, Altuney, A-L-T-U-N-E-Y. Media Mastery Show is on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and share it and comment. We'd love to see your comments, feedback. Any questions you have for us, please comment on the social media and share the love on your social media as well. Also, you can connect with me through my media business, aaxpose.com. So aaxpose.com, or just Google my name on all the social media. I'd love to connect with you there. Thank you once again for joining us on the Media Mastery Show today. We will have more episodes that will be going live onto YouTube, and love you to join us. If you have any suggestions for guests for the show too, always looking for new and interesting people to interview and connect with. Thank you so much once again. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon. Thanks so much, Ross, once again.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.